I built Hiei into Elden Ring, and in today's video, I'm going to show you how to do it too. Stay tuned.
Chill in the air, but the soul feels warm. Peace in the heart is the quiet storm.
Hiei's character creation. Now, unfortunately, with how big this game is, they don't give us a lot of options when it comes to the character appearance, but luckily for us, it's kind of easy to make someone like Hiei because he's always going to have a mean mug, and some of the hairstyles, they kind of go with his sort of wild look. And even though you can't make the characters in this game short, you can pretty much give that aesthetic like how Hiei is, just short but menacing. So in this clip, I'm going through each of the parameters that I set for Hiei, so you're more than welcome to sit and pause the video, rewind, replay, whatever you need to do to get those parameters exactly as you want them. If you want them how I did mine, they're going to be shown on the screen. If not, then just, improvise on your own. But I'll let this rest of this clip play so that way you can see how I set up my Hiei build. The best armor for Hiei. So we've got the commoner's headband here to mimic Hiei's headband in the series. We've got Raptor's Black Feathers because any swordsman can benefit from the jump attack boost that you get from wearing this garb. I know I had this on the Kokushibu build, but it's definitely a good one. Then we have the Bandit Machetes that mirror the bandages, and then we have Bandit Boots, which kind of, they go the most with the black pants and shoes that Hiei wears during the series. And this is what everything looks like when it's all together. Hiei's weapons and gear setup. So first in the shoot we have Hiei's number one weapon, the Uchi Katana. We have the keen affinity on it, as well as have it max upgraded because we need maximum damage output. Next we also have a maxed out Godslayer seal because this is what's going to increase the Black Flame incantations the most. Now for the talismans, we're going to start off with Millicent's prosthesis. You can get this by going through the Millicent quest line, but this pretty much boosts your dexterity and your attack power and your successive hits. Next up is the Twin Blade Talisman, which it makes sense for us to get this because we're going to be slashing the sword around. This just makes it so that the last hit of each of those chains does the most damage. Next in, we got the Dragon Crest Great Shield Talisman. So even though Hiei is small, he's certainly very, very durable. So we want to make sure we give him a good chance at surviving those boss hits. And last but not least, we have the Prosthesis Wearer Heirloom. So you get this once again from the Millicent questline. This just ups your dexterity by 5. So for the physic mix, we have Stone Barb Crack tier, which makes stance breaking easier. And then we have the Thorny Cracked tier, which makes your successive attack power get boosted. Now, if you want to use a Great Rune for this build, you can use Radahn's Great Rune or you can use Godric's Great Rune. Pretty much Radahn's just ups your health, stamina, and FP, and then Godric increases all of your stats by like 5. Hiei's build stats and scaling. So in this first shot, these are all of Hiei's stats without the talismans. So if you look, these are what you want to have your stats as, because this gives Hiei the perfect balance of his, not his strength, but his dexterity and his faith. So you can utilize your Black Flame incantations, but at the same time get the most out of your Uchi Katana. Now these are Hiei's stats with all the talismans applied. You want to pay special attention to the dexterity because the dexterity has increased by 10 points, which has also increased our attack power. You want to make sure that you are scaling the dexterity and the faith as high as possible, because with your Godslayer seal and your Uchi Katana, those are going to be your bread and butter. Results may vary depending on what you decide to use for your build, but I wanted to stick with the Uchi Katana. If you want to use the Nagakiba, you can use that, but I think the Uchi Katana is a little more lore accurate. Black Flame and Godslayer powers. Now let's talk about this Ash of War Bloodhound step. This is a godsend. I'm upset that it took me this long of playing Elden Ring until I finally realized how useful this could be, especially on a swordsman build. I will never play another swordsman without having this attached. This lets you circle around your enemies that you're locked onto so you can get some nice combos in. Now we have the Black Flame with the light charge on it, the Black Flame with the full charge on it, Scouring Black Flame, Noble Presence, Black Flame's Protection, and Black Flame Blade. How to play as Hiei. So if you want to play as Hiei, the only thing that you really have to do is run face first, head first into any sort of battle and not care about whether you're going to win or not. And the reason why I say that is because Hiei is so confident in his abilities to be superior to his opponents that he don't care about how many there are, how big they are, or how tough they're supposed to be. He's going to go after them. He's going to win. Period. Behind the Hiei build. So as it stands right now, this was actually the toughest build that I've ever had to do because this required me to get in the face of all the bosses a whole lot more. And while I could always rely on my mimic to help me out, ultimately Hiei is not one that relies on too many other folks. I mean, like, of course, as the series goes on, he relies on more folks to help him out. But for me, my playstyle involves a lot of hit and run, as you see in the gameplay. And so this was tough in a sense of learning how to get around the mechanics of each of the bosses, relearning them over and over again. And you would think that as long as I've been playing this game that I would be a whole lot better, but as you can see, you know, I can build Hiei, but I can't always play him perfectly.
Yeah.
Final thoughts. At the end of the day, this Hiei build was actually pretty fun to make, and I'll tell you why. Because on one end, it was challenging to go through the game as a pure swordsman. Well, not pure swordsman, but swordsman slash faith build, and try to use the whole not bleeding aspect of the sword play. Because Hiei is not fixated on making his opponents bleed. He's more fixated on domination through just pure sword play without all the extra bloodshed. Granted, his character was known to be, you know, merciless in the series, but in game he doesn't have to translate to an arcane type of swordsman. He can just be a flat out dexterity based swordsman. So it was pretty fun to play as him, or at least to build him and play as him, and it put it into perspective for me as to how to use other tactics within the game in order to actually win. But overall, I would give this build maybe about an 8 out of 10.
Cool breeze moves where the night is free. Calm waves drift like a melody. Uncle Dorian speaks with an easy tone.